So my name's Jake, and I'm here continuing my sexual abuse personal visibility project, where I'm hoping to both heal and educate by living in my vulnerability about being a sexual abuse victim. I'm going to start you off with some data, because this data was eye-opening to me as I started my own healing path. 1 in 6 men have been sexually abused or assaulted. Yeah, you heard that right. 1 in 6. Research dating from 1990 to 2015 find that somewhere between 14 and 18% of men are sexually abused or assaulted by the age of 18. That's pretty staggering. And if you apply that 1 in 6 stat to the population, that means that over 20 million men are victims of sexual abuse or assault in their lifetime. I'm part of that 14 to 18% of men who are abused by the age of 18. And you know what the scary part is? Many men don't disclose. We know that because there's not a lot of space for male victims to disclose. There's this research that shows that men are much less likely to abuse. In one study, that was of men who had severe abuse, severe sexual abuse, so much so that they sought out social services. Only 16% of those men still accepted themselves or saw themselves as abuse victims. You apply that same thing to women who were sexually abused and assaulted and sought social services to heal. 65% of them see themselves as victims. Notice the disparity. Notice the difference. I wonder why. I've been that kid who became a man that had no space to accept my abuse. And how is that okay? Why must we live in a world where men are seen as weak when they show vulnerability? Does the world really think that I'm less of a man because I accepted myself as an abuse victim? You know what I say? I say fuck that, because I am a very strong man. I'm a man who left a small conservative town and came out at the age of 19. I'm a man who got married. Yes, gay married, which has only been legal since 2015. I am raising badass former foster kids that we adopted out of the foster care system. And I'm teaching them to be strong men and learn that their trauma from their past makes them strong and not weak. My family doesn't live in a gayborhood or the new hot gentrified area. We live in the suburbs, where quite often we stare homophobia right back in the face and show that my family isn't less just because we're different. We're pretty badass. I'm also a teacher, helping our next generation grow and become their best selves and believe in themselves year after year. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother, and damn am I a fighter. I am all of those things, and I'm a sexual abuse survivor. That doesn't need to be hidden anymore just because society gets to determine what is masculine. That doesn't need to be hidden because it makes people uncomfortable to talk about. That doesn't need to be hidden because at some point, people have labeled this a taboo subject. That doesn't need to be hidden because people will think of me as less of a man. You know who's less of a man? The predator who abused me and all other predators. The predator who stole my adolescence from me. The predator who was able to still work himself up to be a superintendent in a school district until I reported his ass and got him fired and pulled off the mask of who he really was. I did that. You tell me how that makes me less of a man. You know who needs to be stronger? Not me, not the other victims, but the society that doesn't believe that sexual abuse affects men. A society that makes men feel lucky if they had those experiences. A society that quite often makes men feel like it's their fault that they were abused. A society that automatically links abuse and homosexuality in an attempt to drag both of them down with this heteronormative bullshit. No, only gay men are not abused. No, being abused doesn't make you gay. Because guess what? I'm a fucking fabulous gay man. And guess what else? You can blame Barbara, Cher, and Liza, and not my abuse. And absolutely no, being abused does not destine you to abuse others. So yeah, I am one of millions of male survivors, and I am now dedicated to creating space for men to break down the walls of society's perceived masculinity and stand in their truth. Because I'm ready to stand in my truth. There's plenty of survivors out there that are surviving and thriving, and they need to live in their badass truth, and there needs to be space for them. There needs to be space for me too. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to create space. I'm going to continue to stand in my vulnerability and talk about my story so that we can continue to break down this stigma. Thank you for watching. The stats and data from this video came from theamazing1in6.org. If you want to read more about my story, go to meseekingme.com.